Here in 2010, they've had that in fits and starts. They take on the Tigers today. They lost to the Tigers last night by the final of 8-4. We welcome you to Texas Ranger Baseball on this sun-splashed afternoon, along with Tom Grieve. I'm Josh Lewin. Colby Lewis has been a ray of sunshine right out of spring training, really, back from Japan and pitching so well.
It's been a solid start for Colby, there's no doubt about it. 7 innings in his first start. One thing that has been really good for Colby is how difficult he's been to hit. Opponents are only hitting a little over 200 against him. He's averaging about a strikeout per inning. If you want to nitpick and look for ways Colby can get even better, cut the walks down, cut the pitches down, and pitch a little bit deeper into the game. He's gone 5 innings and 5 1/3 in his last 2 starts. Rangers would like to see a little bit more with regards to innings pitched per start.
He's left the mound with the lead all 3 starts so far this year. The Rangers had a nice big lead yesterday, just couldn't hold it. You got Justin Smoke in the lineup today looking for his first big league hit. His folks are here. His fiance's here. It'll be a great day for Justin Smoke to break out. Rangers and the Tigers are next. F-150. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. By Progressive. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. By Jack in the Box. Try Jack's new grilled sandwiches, turkey bacon cheddar, or the deli trio. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. The Rangers took the field today, and the kids were there to meet them. A wonderful Sunday afternoon tradition here at the ballpark. I'd have to think that gets the players off on a real good foot, get them in a good mood. She didn't want to leave the mound, Tom. Colby Lewis, as politely as possible, had to tell this young lady, I got to go to work.
Definitely, I think, takes your mind off the game for a few seconds when you get to do that as a player.
And what a thrill for the kids as well. They had the Little League parade before the game today. All those little leaguers have found their seats. They're going to watch Colby Lewis do his thing. He's trying to get to 3-0. And the Rangers try to get to 8-10. As we mentioned, it's been a little bit in, a little bit out for the Rangers so far this month of April. Here's the Tigers batting order. They're 10-8. Austin Jackson, the Denton, Texas native, followed by Ramon Santiago and Johnny Damon, who we talked about at length in the pregame show. Mags Ordonez has a day off today. It's Cabrera and Bosch, Inge and Kelly, Avila and Sizemore, some youth at the bottom of that Detroit order. And the now 30-year-old Colby Lewis, we're scouting him out courtesy of Suzuki.
Colby's had 3 starts. He's 2-0, good solid ERA. Significantly fewer hits than innings pitched, a strikeout per inning. A couple too many walks, but over 9.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's tied for third in the American League. He had a 10 strikeout game in 5 1/3 at Cleveland. 1 for 15 he's held hitters with runners in scoring possession. That means he's pitched out of some pretty tight jams with a lot of success. Very good to see. One thing to keep in mind, Colby's last 2 starts, 37 pitches in the first inning in Cleveland and 32 pitches the first inning in Boston. I'd like to have a nice quick first inning and see Colby pitch 7 innings today.
Starts out 2-0 to Austin Jackson. Jackson's already struck out 29 times. That is most in the league by far. Puts a charge into this one. Deep into center field. Austin Jackson's first big league home run is just 30 miles from his hometown. He got ahead 2-0 and he steers it up on Greens Hill. 1-0 Tigers.
Well, you probably won't see a better example of what pitching coaches call for. Try to throw strike 1, get ahead in the count. Because when you get it behind 2-0, the hitter's looking fastball. He's already seen a couple of fastballs, and it's grooved right down in the middle of the plate. You make a hitter a significantly better hitter, and Austin Jackson took advantage of that and hit it 400 feet to center field.
The Rangers had not allowed a home run in their last 35 innings. And then right out of the chute, here's Austin Jackson. Now we'll see if they rummage and get that ball for Austin Jackson. It's not like he'll have a long way to send it to get it home. So a lot of his friends and family here all weekend. And there's Santiago dipping one into left field. Again, Colby Lewis gets behind. This time it's Santiago just flaring one to left.
Yeah, the first pitch looked like it was right down the middle of the plate.
Adrian Johnson, by the way, is your home plate umpire. Johnny Damon with the 11-game hitting streak, and this after starting his season 0 for 14. And again, having to work from behind in the count. Matt Trainer is Colby's catcher today. But take a look at the Johnny Damon with that 453 OBP.
Yeah, that's after starting off the season 0 for 14.
In Japan, and we reference this, Colby Lewis walked only 19 batters all year last year. He's close to walking his 11th already here back in the States in 2010. You know, Ranger starters, the first 10 games of the year, they were going deep into the ball games. 5 innings or more, 9 out of 10 games. But since then, that's happened just one time in 7 games. That's why that starter's ERA has gone from a wonderful 1.9 up to a more mortal 3.7.
Yeah, that's why the bullpen's going to be exhausted in another couple weeks if it doesn't start turning around a little bit.
Well, again, behind in the count, that's a recipe for trouble. Damon pounds it up against the Snapple sign. Santiago wheels around third. He's coming in. It's 2-0 Tigers. Still nobody out.
Yeah, behind in the count and coming in with a fastball. You know, when you get kind of in a groove, you get behind in the count, you can mix in something other than a fastball. But right now, Kobe's pretty much throwing our fastballs behind in the count. And there's another one right down Broadway. Jackson hit a home run on one. Damon ripped that one in the gap for a double.
What you really don't need now is the league leader in runs batted in coming up with runners at second and third. But that's what's happening. Miguel Cabrera's got 22 runs batted in. Oh, excuse me, runner at second. Sorry about that. Gene Lamont should be thrilled. I looked up and saw him just off of third base. And today he's playing the role of the third base coach. Well, Colby having gotten strike one to Cabrera, now missing outside. Cabrera, a couple doubles yesterday. That gives him 9 already. And Tom, as you said, the first inning wobble has been an issue for Colby Lewis the last couple of starts, and he's wobbled out of the chute again here.
Yeah, if I remember right, in one of those first innings, might have been Cleveland, he did pitch out of the jam. It just took 37 pitches to get out of it.
Oh, we showed you that stat scouting out Colby Lewis. He's pitched well with runners in scoring position. Buckles down when he needs to. And you're hoping he can do that here with Cabrera and then Brennan Bosch to bat after that. Mike Maddox, the Ranger pitching coach, interested observer. The walk. And now Mike Maddox will do more than just observe. He's going to advise.
This is the exact opposite of the start you wanted to see in the first inning for Colby after short outings by the starters, long relief innings for the bullpen, and now it's 16 pitches, nobody out in the first inning.
Mike Maddox, whose major league playing career featured nearly 500 games, mostly in relief. He goes back to the dugout, leaving Colby Lewis out there.
Good thing is, one ground ball to second can turn a double play and turn the pitch count in the right direction.
That might be what Mad Dog went out there to remind him of.
Be a good step in the right direction of keeping it at 2 runs in the first inning. That's pretty manageable.
The rookie Brennan Bosch, the batter, hops on a breaking ball. Fouls that one. We're talking about Mike Maddox and his playing career. He was a well-traveled dude. Philadelphia, the Dodgers, San Diego, the Mets, the Pirates, the Red Sox, the Mariners, Montreal. Back to the Dodgers again. And finally the Astros.
That fastball looks a lot better when it's following a curveball. Colby started him off with a curveball. Bosch, at least going by minor league stats, is a pretty free swinger. He doesn't walk a lot. And he was up there first ball hitting, and I think Colby was fortunate he threw him a breaking ball to get ahead in the count. He was looking dead fastball on that first pitch. There.
Much better.
Went to his curveball and got strike 1 with it and strike 3 with it.
And having done that, now indeed that double play that you talked about earlier, not only is it still in order, but that would actually get him out of the inning. Down too low to Brandon Inge. We know you can't spell injured without Inge. And last year, most of the season, Brandon Inge played with a partially torn tendon in one knee, inflammation in the other knee. He had to have both knees operated on this past November, and in theory, starts 2010 good as new. He's a very solid player when he's healthy. Not happening for him on this road trip, though, hitting 129. Again, the Tigers an 8-4 winner yesterday in front of 45,000 plus at the ballpark. There was a walk-up of about 10,000 yesterday, Tom. I mean, the combination of the great weather, and maybe the walk-off win from the night before, there just seemed to be a swell of Ranger support for the game last night.
It would have been a great game to win with that kind of a crowd there. Probably would have paid some dividends for today, but it's a good crowd today. Perfect day for baseball. Sunshine, 70 degrees out, nice breeze.
Same two teams tomorrow at 7:05 before the White Sox come in on Tuesday. Inge smokes one, but foul into the crowd. If you're looking ahead, by the way, thinking of weekends to target, well, you got the Cubs coming in the weekend of May 22nd. That's always huge when the Cubs make their rare appearance here. You got the Lone Star Series. The Astros come in the final weekend of June. Inge will take this one to left field. It stays in the air long enough for David Murphy to corral it, and a quick throw back into second, almost in time for the double play. Looked like that ball might drop when it left the bat of Brandon Inge, but it just stayed up there so that Murphy had the time to go get.
I think the thing that kept it up was how hard Inge hit the ball. That ball was hit pretty hard, kind of sinking toward the end, but David made the play and a nice throw into second base, but runner at second base got back. That's Johnny Damon. Damon thought it was going to fall in for sure. Had to get back quickly to beat that throw. By Andres at second.
Now the hitter is Don Kelly, lefty, playing left field today. Out of Point Park University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Right in downtown in that Golden Triangle. And this is where the youth begins for the Tigers. It's bottom third of their order. It's Don Kelly, Alex Avila, and Scott Sizemore. Then it rolls back up to the top of the order for the rookie Austin Jackson. Towards right, base hit. Damon speeds around third, on his way home, 3-0 Detroit. There's really been a little bit of everything. The Tigers are not just keying in on one particular pitch.
The first three hits were hit pretty hard. This is a pretty good cutter right on the fists. Got it in there pretty good right on the inside corner. Jammed him, but he's able to loop it into right field for that soft hit to score Damon.
Eighth man to bat in the inning is Alex Avila. Yesterday it was the Rangers that ran out quickly to a lead. It was 4-0 in the second inning. And the Rangers will have to come back today against the youngster Rick Porcello. And he has not exactly had a great start to 2010. His ERA is 6.5. On the corner. They actually have 5 guys in their lineup today, Tom, who qualify as rookies, and their pitcher, not a rookie, but he's only 21.
It looked like with the transactions the Tigers made last year, they definitely are keeping in mind trying to get a little bit younger. They've got a veteran team, pretty high payroll, but they're going to have some pretty big chunks of their payroll come off the payroll over the next couple of years.
Boy, how is that one not a strike?
I think there's been a couple of those. First pitch of the game looked like it was right down the middle of the plate.
On the ground to shortstop. Elvis Andrus, a quick flip to second, close play, but they got him. And finally, Lewis, 31 pitches into his inning, is done with the inning. Elvis to lead things off in the bottom of the first. Those Texas Rangers against Rick Porcello, the Southwest Airlines starting lineup. On Elvis weekend at the ballpark, Elvis leads it off, and then Michael Young and David Murphy follow. Josh Hamilton sits today. Vlad Guerrero, 7 for his last 16. He's been so exciting as a Ranger. Nelly Cruz, Justin Smoke looking for that first big league hit. Matt Trainer, Andres Blanco, and Julio Bourbon. And we'll scout out the 6'5", 200-pounder out of Chester, New Jersey, Rick Porcello, brought to you by Suzuki.
Well, Porcello had a nice season last year. He was 14-9 with an ERA under 4. A little bit of a slow start for him. 23 hits in 15 innings. Opponents are hitting almost 360 against him. But at age 21, the sky's the limit for this kid. He won 14 games as a 20-year-old.
That is unusual. It begins with a strike to Elvis Andrus. Here's the list of guys that have done it, Tom, and it's a very short list.
Pretty good company. Dwight Gooden did it twice. Wow.
Now, the two youngest players in baseball last year in the major leagues were these two. Elvis Andrus at the plate, Rick Porcello on the mound. They finished 2 and 3 in the Rookie of the Year balloting in that order.
Well, Porcello is known for a hard sinker. And last year he had the second best ground ball to fly ball ratio in baseball. 2.2 ground balls per fly ball. And maybe one of his problems, we haven't seen his games, maybe he's not getting his sinker over. Maybe it's not sinking as much as it normally does.
That's the report that we got. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a sinker ball pitcher, you got to hit that location pretty well, pretty consistently. He doesn't miss a lot of bats. He struck out only 4.5 batters per 9 innings last year. There's one of the ground balls that he gets so often. Santiago to Cabrera for out number 1.
He had a great spring training. His ERA in spring training was 1.1. He got to the big leagues as a 20-year-old with only 125 innings pitched in his one minor league season, and that was in Lakeland in the Florida State League, which is a high Class A league. But very seldom do you see a high school kid pitch one season of A ball and then go to the big leagues. But I think when they drafted him, he was drafted 27th in the first round. It would have been much higher than that, but his signability was questionable. The Tigers gave him a major league contract. And I think the reason they were comfortable doing that, not only his talent.
Michael Young doing what he does so well, just muscling one in a right.
Third straight game, Michael started the game off with a base hit that way. One of the reasons they liked Porcello, in addition to his talent, was the fact they felt like with his style, composure, and stuff, he could get to the big leagues quickly. Maybe not that quickly, but after only a couple of years in the minor leagues. To their benefit, it only took 1 year in the minor leagues.
We mentioned the day off for Josh Hamilton today. David Murphy is starting in left and batting third. A lot of the starts for David this year have been against lefties, so I'm sure he enjoys seeing a righty instead. David hitting just 136. And a Hambone available off the bench later if needed today. Another one in there, according to Adrian Johnson.
The last pitch was a changeup. 89 miles an hour with a sinker, 80 miles an hour with a changeup. Porcello is a 20-year-old rookie, walked less than 3 batters per 9 innings. That's pretty good. And when you're a sinker ball pitcher and you're getting the hitters to hit a lot of ground balls, takes away the necessity to strike out more batters. You're actually getting quicker outs doing it that way.
These Tigers we mentioned are off to a 10-8 start. They're trying to bounce back from their awful, embarrassing collapse to end 09. And the offseason brought even worse news, it looked like. The Bills came due on their rampant spending from back in 2005 and 06. As we've talked about, it was kind of time to downsize. They dealt their popular and talented leadoff man, Curtis Granderson. Placido Polanco walked away. They dealt away their all-star starting pitcher, Edwin Jackson. But as you said, Tom, they like what they've assembled in terms of a youth brigade. They feel like they're ready to compete with that right now.
Yeah, when you look at Austin Jackson and his talent in center, Scott Sizemore at second, the guys that the young players they've added, Max Scherzer, technically to take the spot of Edwin Jackson. It's not like they're just trying to fill holes. They filled holes with quality young players that they can build around it. The other guys that they traded, Edwin Jackson being one of them, were going to be free agents potentially within a year or two. And if you wanted to sign them, it would have taken mega dollars. Instead, they've got young players who they've got under control for 5 or 6 years. They'll have some pretty high contracts coming off the books over the next year or two, too, as they will allow them to add some players if they need to. Got a young high school pitcher named Jacob Turner who'll be pitching in the minor leagues for the first time this year that they like along the lines of a Rick Porcello. Might see him in the big leagues pretty quickly, too.
8th pitch of the at-bat is due to David Murphy. Michael Young goes, and Murphy swats it in the air, right center field. That ball towards the bullpen. Gone!
That ball went over the bullpen. Might have been one of the better shots David's had as a Ranger. Might have to have David's dad and his nephew come up to the booth every day before the ball game.
Yeah, we met his nephew Blake before the game. Awesome young man, and
I said to Blake, you better bring us some good luck today, Blake. We need a win. His dad said, don't worry about that. This kid's got good luck written all over him. Looks like he was right.
On a 2-run home run from Uncle Dave, the Rangers back to within 1.
And that fastball location hurt Kobe in the first inning, and it allows the Rangers to jump on Rick Porcello. 3rd straight game they've had a couple of runs in the first inning.
Well, the first of the year for David Murphy on a day that he subs in for Josh Hamilton. Bonked it over there by the Chicken Express sign. David's a great example of a guy who just kind of works hard and keeps his mouth shut. Sure, he'd love to play more, but you'll never catch him asking for more playing time. There's a base hit for Vlad Guerrero. And after Elvis started with a ground down, it's been single, homer, single to bring up Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, I think if you're a Ranger outfielder, think back to Marlon Byrd over the last 3 or 4 years, and you start the season, even though it looks like playing time might be a problem, you've seen that over the course of a 162-game schedule, you're going to get plenty of playing time. Just be ready, do your work, and when your time comes, take advantage of it. That's, when you're in David's position, what he does, what you have to do. You see Jamie Reed next to him working on a glove right there. We mentioned that, I think, in Boston when I'm not sure if it was Matt's glove or Taylor's catching it.
I think it was Matt Trainer's.
It was Matt Trainer's broke, and how the trainers are the ones that work on the gloves. And there, you're getting a pretty good idea of how they do it right there. They got a little kit. It's a little complicated. You can't just pick up a glove and rewire one like that. You have to have a little bit of know-how.
Jamie Reed's a glove doctor. Here's your fourth leaderboard with Nelson Cruz batting right now, with Ty Wigginton somehow has wedged himself as the number 2 guy in the league now for a 2-16 Oriole team. And just to bring it back to Jamie Reed, when the Orioles were off to that 0-21 start in 1988, that was Jamie Reed's first year in the big leagues. He worked all those years in the minors as an athletic trainer. He finally gets the call, goes to Baltimore, dream come true.
They said, man, we're all going to get fired.
0-21. Nelson Cruz lofting it towards the crowd.
The Tigers are in a little bit better shape today as far as a long man goes for the bullpen. Their long man today is Dontrell Willis, who was supposed to start yesterday, but was scratched. So if Porcello continues to have a rocky start and has to be replaced early, it could easily be yesterday's scheduled starter.
Well, the 2 starters combined have thrown 55 pitches to get 4 outs. Runner goes. Vlad Guerrero on his way to second base, and he is out. Alex Avila continues to nail attempted base stealers. The Rangers, against everybody else this year, are 20 for 21. Against this kid, they're 1 for 4.
Well, he did the same thing today that he did the other day, is catch it, get rid of it extremely fast, and deliver it right on the money to second base. Great to steal a base. You just hate to see Porcello struggling like this, 3 straight hits behind in the count, getting out on the bases like that. But credit Avila with an excellent throw to make it happen.
Ron Washington out there to chat with Mike Everett about it. Not that that was going to be overturned, but anyway, base is clear now. 3-2 the count to Nelson Cruz. And Nelson Cruz, wouldn't you know it, sends a base hit into right. And then a little bobble out there. Bosch got turned around. He recovers. Well, the sluggish beginning to the 2010 season for Rick Porcello certainly continues. He's allowed 4 straight hits.
In yesterday's ball game, after Vladimir doubled in 2 runs, he was thrown out trying to go to third, and Nelly Cruz doubled right after that. So the Rangers gave up a run on the bases yesterday in the first inning, and Nelly got a hit. Today they give up another run on the bases, and Nelly follows that out with a base hit. So it's being aggressive on the bases in over 162 games. That'll pay some dividends. It already has for the Rangers this season. But occasionally it can go against you. We had 2 Tiger pitchers struggling in the first inning, each able to get an out without retiring a hitter.
Big rip from Justin Smoak, and he's behind 0-2. Still obviously geared up for that first big league hit. Already 3 walks in 2 games. Eight hits in the game already, 4 for each team. Justin Smoak in his big league debut, Tom, saw 18 pitches. He only swung at 5 of them. I think a lot of times you'll see a guy in his big league debut with the butterflies flapping. They're so anxious. They're just up there hacking right away. That was not Justin Smoak. Swinging here, belts it into center. Austin Jackson is back. He's got it. The David Murphy home run has the Rangers in gear today. They're trailing 3-2 at the end of one.
All right, thank you, Josh. In Community Corner today, we have Linda Gelser for the Carter Blood Care. And you know what? Big day for Carter Blood Care because you're hosting 2,000 blood donors, but it's never too late to give blood, right?
Never too late to give blood, Jim. We're the local community blood center that supplies blood to over 90% of the hospitals in North, Central, and East Texas. And these donors know something that we'd like to share with everyone else, and that is that blood does have a shelf life. So when we ask you to give blood and give often, that's to help sustain this quality of blood that we do have here in North Texas.
Very good. And if those who want to get involved, give blood, what do they need to do?
Just go to the website, carterbloodcare.org, or call 1-800-DONATE-4. 1-800-DONATE-4, and that's where you can host a blood drive, volunteer in some other capacity, or be a blood donor yourself.
Excellent, Linda. Nice meeting you. Keep up the great work, Josh.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Linda. Sizemore going to send one into left center field, and the hit parade continues. 5 for 8 so far are the Tigers, and 4 for 6 right now are the Rangers. Do players get that sense? I mean, there's that cliche, hey, good day to hit, guys, good day to hit.
You hear that said on the bench, so I think you get that feeling sometimes. You might say to each other, it's going to be one of those games. We better keep hitting.
Austin Jackson started the proceedings with a home run. His first in the big leagues, and he's now got 24 hits this month. That's the most by a Tiger rookie in the month of April in more than 60 years.
Pitchers, however, can quiet that kind of talk by making good pitches and getting people out.
Jackson spoons one down the right field line. That is fair. Cruz has to go dig it out of the corner. Jackson to second base, and stopping at third is Sizemore. And it is indeed a good day to hit. Jackson's got 6 total bases in 2 innings.
Let's see what Jackson hits right here. He hits a breaking ball right down the middle of the plate. Looked like a cutter that was either supposed to be on the inside corner or the outside corner, but not right there. Jackson hit a home run to dead center field on a fastball in the center square. And now he's got a double on what looked like a cutter in the same spot.
Santiago swings right away. Look at this. He feathers it right in front of Murphy. 4-2 Tigers.
Well, Jackson hit his ball hard. Sizemore's was a little broken bat type blooper to center, and so was that one by Santiago. But unfortunately, they still count as much as a line drive does.
The two teams are a combined 11 for 16.
You know, this is one of those games where Kobe's going to have to turn it around. Boy, he's going to have an ugly looking line for today, because there really isn't a long man well rested to go 3 or 4 innings today. Doug Mathis pitched his 4+ innings yesterday. Dustin Nippert would probably be the long man today, but he's pitched quite a bit recently. I think he pitched a couple of days ago. So Ron Washington is going to have to stick with Kobe for maybe longer than he'd want to in a situation where Kobe doesn't turn it around. Hopefully Kobe will turn it around, not have to worry about that.
It's a day when the Tigers are resting Maglio Ordonez too, and that was a break that you figured that the Rangers could take advantage of. But even without Ordonez, already 4 runs on 7 hits, only 3 outs into the game.
Well, his replacement was, I guess, probably Don Kelly, who's got an RBI single in the game.
Now you got to deal with a guy who's got a 12-game hitting streak, Johnny Damon. Don't you hate it when Scott Boras is right? The agent for Johnny Damon kept insisting, hey, this guy's got plenty of value. We're going to hold him out. They didn't get quite the contract that they thought they would get, but they got enough.
Oh, he was right about Johnny Damon's ability, that's for sure.
Damon is durable too. He's played in 140 games each of the last 14 seasons. Only the 5th player in Major League history to do something like that.
There's less of an inclination on the part of teams in today's present economic climate to give a veteran player in his mid to upper 30s any kind of a multi-year contract. So in spite of the fact that Damon is still a very productive player, he probably was looking more than teams were willing to give as far as length of a contract goes. Teams, probably more as a group than ever before, are trying to work young players through the minor leagues and get them to the big leagues so they can continue to develop for the future and maintain a sane budget at the same time. That's why players like Elvis and Julio are so important to your ball club, because they play key roles and they don't make much money right now. Time will come when they do. But more and more teams are starting to go the route of what the smaller market teams have had to do for the last 20 or 25 years, and that's draft good players, develop good players, and get them to the big leagues. Even the big market teams are doing that now.
Damon takes a cut and pops it up, and it ends up in the crowd. Johnny Damon pretty much delivered as promised as a Yankee. He got on base, he hit a few home runs, he always worked the count. Remember, before that he was the scruffy ragamuffin cult hero, heart and soul of the Red Sox. Then he jumped ship to the Red Sox most hated rivals. He ditched that caveman look that invited a pile of abuse from New England. They couldn't believe he was a traitor like that.
Well, I think had the Red Sox offered the same contract, he probably would have stayed in Boston. Can't fault the player for trying to get the best deal he can financially. I don't think it was a case where Damon said, I don't like the Red Sox anymore. I want to go to the Yankees. He just said, hey, for what they're offering me, I can't say no.
But the man who personified the Red Sox as kind of being the anti-Yankees when they beat him in 04. He's down on strikes here. That's a big out for Colby Lewis.
Real big out. And he made a good pitch too. Threw his sinker, his fastball, right on the outside corner, right near the outside corner, and got the call.
Miguel Cabrera is a candidate to hit into a double play. A lot of bulk on that body. Although not as much as he had before. They say he's He's trimmed down a little bit, kind of recommitted to some better off-field habits. Remember, he came up with the Florida Marlins. And the talk down there was his legend did not grow nearly as fast as his waistline did down there. They begged him to keep the weight under control in Detroit. Even though the Tigers have had sluggers like Cecil Fielder and Willie Horton come through the Motor City, and a little extra pound or two didn't hurt them at all.
Yeah, and I don't think it's hurting him either. It's just a matter of, as you look down the road, they've signed him to a huge and long contract. If it keeps heading in that direction, eventually it could become a problem, and I think they're just trying to nip it in the bud. It looks like they have, too.
Two very difficult words to master, or I'm full. That's true for all of us. You get into that big league clubhouse with all that food staring at you, it's not easy to say no thank you. Whoa, just outside. 2-2. It's been a tough strike zone to earn from Adrian Johnson today. Let's see this one.
The pitch to Johnny Damon might have been a little bit off the plate, and he got that call. That one caught the corner. He didn't get the call.
There's that ground ball. And the double play candidate has hit into the double play. Colby Lewis is out of the inning. It stays Tigers 4 and the Rangers 2. Four and the Rangers 2 in the bottom of the second, and a guy who played briefly for the Tigers last year, Matt Trainer, steps in. He got to catch Rick Porcello. Now he will face Rick Porcello. Trainer, originally a fourth-round pick of Kansas City. And noting that Dontrell Willis was supposed to be the starter for the Tigers yesterday, Tom, it would have been neat to talk about Trainer against Dontrell Willis. When Matt Trainer finally made it to the majors, it was with the Florida Marlins, when Dontrell Willis was still a Marlin, and Matt Trainer's big league debut was catching 6 1/3 innings of a perfect game from Dontrell Willis before finally Dontrell walked Ken Griffey Jr. And Trainer's going to bump one into right field, a base hit.
He's going to keep doing the same thing the Tigers are doing.
In that anthem today, everybody hits.
Sizemore started out the second for the Tigers with a soft single, and that's going to do the same thing right here for the Rangers.
He'll end up at first base talking to another former Fish, former Marlin, Miguel Cabrera over there. Time is called by the first base umpire, Tim McClelland.
The door's open to the bullpen out there.
No, something's wrong out there, but
I don't know what he was at. Well, door's closed. Not sure what he was looking at out there. Still looking though.
Somebody got one of those little red pen lights or something.
Nothing hanging over the fence. Do not know.
And as of now, it does not matter because Andres Blanco is stepping in to hit. Trainer's going. Hit and run artistry from Blanco. Trainer has to stop at second base. But that vacated hole by Santiago, that's where the ball ended up. And it's 2 on, nobody out. Everybody hits.
Well, soft single, soft single. A pretty good shot of a bunt right here. Put the pressure on the defense with a fast runner. Good job by Andres right there. Slapped it right by the third baseman in the hole. Left fielder Kelly was playing shallow, so there's no way Trainer could go to third base.
The Tigers are 7 for 11. The Rangers are 6 for 8. That is ball 1 to Bourbon.
Some days one team seems to have all the good fortune. Every ball they hit finds a hole. The soft ones, the ones that are hit hard. Today, early in the game, it's working out that way for both teams. Got some hard hit balls and a bunch of soft hit balls, but most of them are finding a hole somewhere.
For a combined batting average of .684 in this game right now. Julio Bourbon unable to get the bunt down right there. Ron Washington supplies our Geico quote for the day about Julio. More relaxed, flipped down to 9th in the batting order, and the hope is that Julio is going to catch fire from the 9 spot. Re-earn that number 1 spot. Pops the bunt up. Now it's 1-2, and you figure the bunt gets taken off here. You're not going to bunt with 2 strikes.
I don't think he'll bunt with 2 strikes. Instead, maybe he'll rip a double down the right field line. Score a couple of runs instead.
Boy, that's a tough one to bunt. It's up at his helmet.
Yeah, you got to first bring your bat back on that one. That thing's not even close to being a strike. The only thing you can do on that, he's lucky he fouled it off, is pop it up.
One thing Julio has not done all year, believe it or not, is walk. And if you're going to be the leadoff hitter, you do have to draw a walk here and there.
I think that all comes with relaxing, and I think Ryan's got a good point. That batting 9th will allow him to relax a lot easier than batting first will. And the Rangers have excellent candidate to switch with him. Elvis has definitely earned that role. Elvis came into the game today with a .424 on base percentage.
One of the top 10 totals in the league right now. Bourbon to left field. Everybody hits. They are loaded up, and Elvis coming up.
Well, why sacrifice bunt when you get a base hit?
Oh, the bottom third of the order, all with singles. Trainer, Blanco, Bourbon.
First 2 were of the soft variety. That one was a rope.
Jim Leland is going to trudge out there.
It takes the sting out of not getting the sacrifice bunt down. Pretty tough pitch, too. It looked like it was a little bit outside, but it was high. And Julio's just up there trying to protect the plate. That's the way he needs to hit. Spray the ball, hit the ball on a line.
Elvis Andrus so far is leading the American League with a .750 batting average with runners in scoring position. He's got that chance right now. Boy, what a start to this game. 7 hits aside. We're in the 2nd inning.
Porcello's having a hard time commanding the good part of the pitcher's strike zone. Everything's up, out over the plate. Slider's not doing a whole lot. Sinker's not sinking a whole lot when it's belt high.
Great take right there. Elvis continues to show the patience of a much older ball player.
And now you're in a situation that a couple of the Tigers were in earlier against Colby. 2-0 count. You definitely don't want to go to 3-0 with nobody out and the bases loaded. Look for a fastball, look for it in your spot, and then rip it.
With Michael Young on deck, it's 3-0 to Elvis.
And Dontrell Willis is starting to get loose in the bullpen.
Jixon shows you the strike zone.
Almost have to take a couple of strikes right here. See if he can throw you 3 straight strikes. Don't have to worry about it.
He walks him right after the visit from the boss. It is 4-3. You got the manager out there to talk to you. And 4 pitches later, it's a walk. Here is Dontrell Willis, the D train, getting ready. The tying man at 3rd. Nobody out.
He's throwing 4 straight balls right here. And if you're Michael, you have to say to yourself, okay, if I get a good one, I'm going to hit it. But he's going to have to throw me a good pitch right here. Show me you can throw a strike. That's high. 5 straight balls. He's not able to get his slider down at all.
They're shouting at Austin Jackson, the center fielder from the dugout, to move a little bit more towards right. Michael goes to right here, but it's foul.
Good pitch to hit. Michael had a great swing at it. Just fouled it back.
Everything continues to be up, though, from Porcello, and he's not a guy that can survive doing that. Michael Young hammers it. Left center field. Austin Jackson can't get there. Maybe he should have stayed where he was. 3 runs are going to score. The Tigers had just got done shouting at Austin Jackson, get into right center. And that's true. Michael usually hits it there. But instead he hit it a little bit to the left of center field, and no way Jackson could find it.
Well, all you can do is play the percentages, and if they pitch Michael away, he will hit it away. But that ball was up and in, and that's a ball Michael will jump on and not hit the right field, which he did. It goes all the way to the wall, scores 3 runs, and the hit brigade continues.
As the teams are now a combined 15 for 21 at the plate.
That's what the Rangers couldn't do early in the game yesterday, is get that big hit. They had men on base, and they ended up scoring 2 in each inning, but they had a chance for a real big inning, couldn't get it.
Murphy down the line. Remember, he homered earlier. This one's foul. Elvis Andrus started against Porcello with a ground out. And since then, the only 2 outs have been Vlad Guerrero caught stealing and Justin Smoke flying to deep center. Murphy, though, is a strikeout victim. And the first one of those for Porcello today.
A little bit outside, it looks like.
Vlad Guerrero now 18 for 32 in this ballpark this year. Ranger fans know all too well that as a member of the opposition year after year, he'd put up huge numbers in this ballpark. So the Rangers have simply hoarded that for themselves here this season.
You know, part of positioning your fielders is really contingent on the pitcher throwing the ball where you expect him to throw it. And you can shade the outfielder where he should be. But in that case to Michael, Porcello just didn't make the pitch. He didn't throw the ball away, which might have resulted in a ball hit to right center field. It did yesterday when Jackson ran down that line shot that Michael hit. But instead, Porcello's pitch was on the other side of the plate, actually a little bit inside, and Michael pulled it.
On the ground towards short. Santiago on to Cabrera for the out. It's almost like a letdown when somebody actually
made it out.
That's not possible.
Well, 15 hits in 2 innings. That's pretty remarkable. Both pitchers are a little bit shell-shocked right now. But they're both still in there. They both still have a chance to turn it around. Right now, Kobe's after 2 innings. I guess the one way to boil it down, Kobe's got a 2-run lead.
Nelson Cruz trying to add to that lead. Nelly's now in a 3-way tie for the home run lead in the AL. Vernon Wells with 7. Paul Konerko is up to 7 for Chicago. We're going to see the White Sox here starting Tuesday. Into the crowd, a big crowd again here today after a 45,700 attendance yesterday.
Well, if you like baseball and you like sunshine and you're not really into sweating a lot,
right,
today's a day to come to the ballpark. Because it is perfect. No humidity, 70 degrees, a breeze, and sunny. And a lot of baseball being played. You're getting your money's worth through 2 innings. In fact, if you're watching on TV, come on out. You still got a full game left.
If you like to hear the crack of the bat and do it in the sunshine, yeah, it can't be in a better place today. We were talking earlier about the Cubs coming in weekend of May 22, the Astros coming in the weekend of June 26. I think one of the big homestands of the year is probably going to be when the Yankees and Red Sox come in back to back. That's in August. And doubtful it will be 75 and perfect then, but Yankees for 2, Red Sox for 3 starting August 10th. Bouncing away from Avila. Down to third is Michael Young on the wild pitch. 972 Rangers, the number to call to get your tickets, by the way, if any of those dates are of interest.
Well, that's an unusual stretch of games right there in August. 2 off days within 4 days at home in the middle of August, right? Am I looking at that right?
Yeah, no, you got it right.
Monday and Thursday. Rest up for the Yankees, rest up for the Red Sox. I'm making a call right here.
Fernelli?
Yep.
On 2-2.
Right center. Ranger bullpen. Get specific.
Oh. You want Chicken Express?
It's been too long since the ball's been hit hard in this game.
All right. Chicken Express sign or sharp perimeter sign?
I'm going Chicken Express.
All right.
Ooh, nice play by Avila.
Yeah, because Porcello almost went backstop right there.
Well, easily could have kicked off his side. Instead, he shifted all the way across the plate and blocked it. Pretty impressed with his defense so far. Not sure what his reputation is as a defensive catcher, but sure looks sterling against the Rangers.
Nelson Cruz does not go Chicken Express.
Oh, he made a good pitch. That's Porcello's game right there. Make the ball sink and hit the corner of the plate.
Rangers with plenty of hits today. The most recent from Michael Young. And it's now brought to you by Geico Insurance, where 15 minutes can save you 15% on car insurance. And by AT&T. See what's new from AT&T. Visit att.com for details. Whoa. One of the 110 pitches we have seen in the first two innings ended up rifled in the left center by Michael Young. And the Rangers have a 6-4 lead. Hopefully now, Colby Lewis, with things kind of settled in, and now that he's got a 2-run lead, can kind of pick up the tempo, go right at these Tigers.
Well, Colby got out of a jam in the second, which is actually some really nice pitching, because Santiago had singled a run in first and third with nobody out. He struck out Damon and got Cabrera to hit into a double play, two of the hottest hitters in the league. So that was really nice the way he ended the second. And for that matter, Porcello did too. Strikeout, ground out, strikeout for Porcello. Well, maybe they're turning it around a little bit.
And Colby Lewis is a one-time Detroit Tiger, by the way. Pitched briefly for them in 2006 after he had been hurt all of 05. Needed that right shoulder surgery. In there to Brennan Bosch, and down he goes.
Up there. That's a good way to start. First out of the third. This time Colby's got the leadoff hitter in an inning. Well, Josh, usually we thank people for the food they send up. I've got a different kind of thank you today.
What you got? Kyle
McGee stopped me in my car on the way into the clubhouse today, and he gave me a used ticket from July 5th, 1970. That happens to be the first day that I played in a big league game at Yankee Stadium, and he has a rain check from a ticket for that game that he handed me, which I thought was very thoughtful of him. And I just happened to notice it's a lower stand box seat, and it cost $4 at Yankee Stadium. That same ticket now might be $2,500. It was $4 in 1970.
Wow.
But I thought that was very thoughtful of Kyle to do that. Thank you.
We'll take a peek at that if we get a chance. Brandon Inge will take. It's in very good condition here, too. Kyle gave it to you. Game number 41 of the year for those Yankees. Good pitch by Colby Lewis to strike out Inge.
There we go. Colby's getting his other pitches than his fastball working for him now.
Give you your ticket back here, and I'm going to tell you about MLB.TV.
All right.
If you're traveling this season, you can take the Rangers with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv. See every Rangers game live or on demand on your computer. Go to TexasRangers.com for more details. Here's Don Kelly. I'm sorry, Tech.
I was going to say, next time Kobe warms up to start the game, I would suggest starting 5 minutes early, sit down for a couple extra minutes, and then go back and throw about 20 more pitches and maybe get that first inning off your plate.
Tigers had a great pitcher who always seemed to struggle in the first inning. That was Jack Morris. And he would always settle in.
Well, that's settling in.
1, 2, 3. Down they go. Only 10 pitches needed from the Cobra at the top of the third. 6-4 Texas. Locations for 61 games at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Enjoy plenty of benefits. First game of the prorated plan is Monday, May the 17th against the Angels. 972 Rangers, the number to call for more information. Justin Smoke. We've been talking about Tom Greaves' big league debut back in 1970. Justin Smoke is making his big league debut this weekend. Tom Greaves in the first game of a doubleheader for the Washington Senators against those New York Yankees on July the 5th, 1970. I'm privy to the lineup. There was another guy made his debut that day for the Yankees against the Senators, Bobby Mitchell.
Bobby Mitchell
got into his first game. Yep.
Huh.
Dick Bosman was on the mound for your Washington Senators.
Well, I know who was pitching for the Yankees. Fritz Peterson.
Fritz Peterson, indeed.
I grounded out to shortstop 3 times in that game, 0 for 3. And after the game, my mother said, "Nice game. You got 3 hits."
I love your mom.
I said, "Mom, if that were actually accurate, I would be in the Hall of Fame right now." They wouldn't have waited the 5 years.
Tag was batting behind Paul Casanova, who was the catcher that day. And in front of the second baseman, Tim Cullen. Senators beat the Yankees 7-3. Matt Trainer with a foul. Went and Tag peek at that whole lineup right here. Some names you probably forgot about.
Yeah, really.
He had steady Eddie Brinkman in that game at short. Of course, he made his mark with these Tigers.
Yeah, Eddie unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, but boy, what a great personality he was.
Trainer on the ground towards second base.
Oh, both pitchers are settling down. Porcello had a great 1-2-3 end to the second inning, and he's got 2 quick outs here in the third too. Hitter's probably a little tired. They're going to have to regroup for a couple of innings and see if they can come back.
More on Eddie Brinkman real quick. He was part of that Penny McLean deal, right?
Yeah.
With Don Wart. Eddie Brinkman was from Cincinnati. Played with Pete Rose in high school in Cincinnati. Known for his defense at short, and so is this guy, Andres Blanco, although he's been a second baseman for the Rangers with Ian Kinsler out.
You know, one thing we learned when Roger Staubach was up here, Roger played amateur baseball in Cincinnati with Eddie Brinkman, too.
Yeah, that's right. Boy, that opening day, top to bottom, was fun. Roger Staubach in the booth. The walk-off win. Yep.
That was great.
The full house, great weather. Well, Colby Lewis having settled down, Rick Porcello trying to see if he can do the exact same thing. Blanco right down the line, it's foul. Now, you didn't play in the second game of that doubleheader?
No, I was glad I didn't. I was so tired. I got called up from Denver the day before. We had a night game in Denver, and I got called up after the game and took a red-eye flight, landed in New York at about maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, got to the ballpark a half an hour before the first game, and naturally I didn't sleep 1 minute on the plane. And so I got to play in the first game, and the adrenaline lasted for that game. But I think I had to fight sitting on the bench and keep from falling asleep in the second game. So I was actually glad I didn't. I was shocked I was playing at all. But after the first game and the emotion that went into that, I was almost happy that I wasn't playing in the second game.
In the center field, a base hit for Blanco. So he's 2 for 2. Up comes Julio Bourbon. They have the big fireworks show in Denver that 4th of July night. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They used to be famous for that.
Well, they had probably as good a fireworks night as anywhere in baseball, big leagues or minor leagues, and a huge crowd. We used to play at the same stadium, Mile High Stadium, where the Broncos played. And so on Friday, on fireworks night, there might be 75 or 80,000 people there.
And then there would be like 700 the next night, right?
Yeah, much smaller. But I remember that I got called up on that day, and I had the incentive bonus in my contract, which meant if I was in the big leagues for 90 consecutive days, I would get a $5,000 bonus.
Sweet.
You also got it for AA and AAA, and so I collected the first $2,500. There's $1,000 for AA, $1,500 for AAA, so I collected that, and that gave me 89 days in the big leagues that year. And, you know, as a young player, you're not positive. I didn't play that well, so I didn't know if I'd ever get back to the big leagues. You don't know, and I'm thinking, man, if one day is going to cost me $5,000, that's just not fair. I can remember talking to Joe Burke about my contract in the minor leagues the next year, and I brought that up, and he said, well, we've considered giving you that bonus provided you sign this contract that we've sent you. And so even though I thought I deserved a little bit more of a contract, I wasn't taking any chances. I said, okay, you got a deal. I'll sign it. And then they sent me the part of my incentive bonus. I didn't play at all in the big leagues the next year.
Your negotiating skills got awesome as a GM, but
I don't know about that.
Bourbon reaching out, pokes one towards center. It's shallow. That ball's going to drop. Bourbon is due for some breaks. And
That's
there's
exactly
one.
Right.
Yep, he's now 2 for 2. So is Blanco. And it's back to the top of the order for Elvis Andrus.
Well, Blanco and Bourbon have each had a couple of hits. They've each scored a run. And now they're up for Elvis.
Everybody's up for Elvis.
Porcello's given up a couple of soft hits, but the one pitch that he'd like to have back is the pitch that Michael drilled that double with the bases loaded. That was a huge hit of the game for the Rangers. The Rangers can use another big hit right here. And Porcello had 5 straight outs, 2 of them on strikes, and he's still throwing the ball well. Blanco hit a soft ground ball, and that's a little blooper. So there's 2 men on, but I think Porcello is still throwing the ball much better than he was earlier in the game right now.
All right, is Bourbon going to test out Alex Avila? Now, moot point. Elvis hits the first one he sees to Santiago, and he's out. I think Bourbon was getting ready to run. maybe the next pitch or pitch after. But Elvis grounds out. The Rangers sent away despite a couple of hits. Colby Lewis on top, 6-4.
It's going to take a big swing, maybe hit a home run. Actually, he's a golfer.
That big
he's
surprise.
doing a little baseball today. He's got his Masters hat on.
Oh, that is a Masters hat, isn't it?
Yep.
That's awesome. Thomas, thank you for being here, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a polite, good-looking kid right there. What did you say?
He just waved goodbye to himself when he disappeared off TV.
Oh, bye, buddy. Bye.
That's his mommy back there.
We gotta get Thomas on the field at some point to say hello to Colby Lewis too, like that little girl before the game did. Colby dealing to Alex Avila right now in a 6-4 game, and Avila is going to send one foul.
Well, Colby's retired 5 straight batters, but one of them was a double play, so it's actually 6 outs in a row as he's settling down nicely.
Too bad you don't have your telestrator this year. You could have young Thomas, kind of draw here on Alex Avila.
I'm just hoping he doesn't decide to hit a home run on my head with this bat that he's got right here. Colby continues his good string of pitching here.
Scott Sizemore will come up next. Jim Knox is standing by with some other special guests today.
Thank you very much, Josh. Justice Smoke's parents and also fiance in town. His dad Keith, mother Debbie, also Kristen, his fiance. Keith, what was your initial reaction when Justin got called up to the bigs?
Well, it's a very exciting time for Justin and all the work he's put in to get to this point in his lifetime and his career.
Great catch by David Murphy right there. Go ahead.
I said it's just a very exciting time just to hear, his voice saying, "Hey, Dad, I've been called up. You need tickets to Arlington."
There we go. And you guys are here. You go back tomorrow, so hopefully you'll pick up that first hit, big league hit, sometime this afternoon. What age was it when you looked at him and said, "Hey, he's got a potential, maybe someday be up in the big"?
He's around 15 or 16 years old. We knew he had a real good growth spurt, and he just loved the game, and he's always had a passion for this game that's been, just unreal.
Okay, very proud, I'm sure.
Yes, we are. We are very proud. Our whole family is. Everybody's just proud of him.
There we go. All right, nice meeting you. Enjoy the rest of the game, Josh.
Thank you, Jim, and welcome to the Smoke family. And Justin, as you can probably tell just from the way he just kind of carries himself, he's polite like your grandson.
He's
doesn't say much.
A little more experience, but yeah, no, he carries himself like he's grown up with the intention of becoming a ball player, with the expectation of being a ball player, and now he's getting to live out his dream. Not in awe of the situation. I think he's very appreciative of the opportunity. And based on his talent and all the scouts' recommendations and minor league people's recommendations, got a great career ahead of him.
2-2 pitch to Austin Jackson, and down he goes.
Well, now he made some good pitches to Austin right there. Kept the ball away from the middle of the plate.
Boy, 9 straight retired by Lewis after 7 Tigers had hits through 10 at-bats. Bottom of the 4th inning, the Rangers have rallied to take a 6-4 lead, and Michael Young, a big part of that rallying, and taking down and outside. Colby Lewis, some kind of turnaround. We mentioned that 7 of the first 10 Tiger hitters had base hits against him today, including a home run by Austin Jackson to start the afternoon. Then Colby Lewis just clicked into gear as we check the AT&T trivia question, talking about Nolan Ryan, who no-hit these Tigers. Who was the hitter that comically came to bat in the 9th inning with a table leg?
Can't get away with that in baseball anymore. But that hitter felt like he had the same chance to get a hit with a table leg as he did with a bat.
I think it was actually brilliant comedy. But home plate umpire Ron Luciano, who was known for his sense of humor himself, said, you know what, we got to go by the book on this one, and you're going to have to get an actual bat. I'll tell you who that player was in just a bit. Of these 7 Nolan Ryan no-hitters, I think it's universally agreed, even Nolan has said this, that in terms of just the best stuff, that was the game, that one against the Tigers, where, I mean, from the first inning, it was just kind of almost assumed that that was going to be a no-hitter.
And Nolan had a lot of games where you wondered about that early in the game when he was strong, and it's hard to imagine a more dominating game than the one he had against the Blue Jays, his last one when he struck out 16. But for the people that did see that game, they said it was the most dominating of all of them. I wish I had a chance to see it. Saw the last 2, and they were pretty fun to watch. Can't imagine how overmatched the Tigers must have been that day. That was his most dominating. Michael's been on 3 times today. Walked and scored a run, doubled in 3. Now he's walked and hopefully on the way to another big inning for the Rangers right here.
Now it brings up David Murphy, and we didn't really have time to do it justice in the top of the inning, but boy, what a catch David Murphy made on Scott Sizemore.
The Rangers have had 2 big hits in this game. They've had a lot of hits, but 2 big ones. 2-run homer by David and a 3-run double by Michael.
Strike one to Murphy, who has a lot of family from the Detroit area. And David was a bit of a Tiger fan himself growing up. On the ground towards second base. Nicely turned. The 4-6-3 double play.
And that's a lot more what you expect from Porcello, too, is ground balls, the sinker. And he's starting to get that. Look at the outs that he got in the last inning. 2 ground balls to second, a ground ball to shortstop. There's a double play. Other than strikeouts, everything's been on the ground the last 3 innings after Michael's double.
Vlad Guerrero, the rare take. Rangers already with 10 hits today. Vlad has one of them. Ooh, look out.
That ball was coming right up and in toward his chin. I think it got him in the shoulder, but that ball really tailed up and in.
Kevin Harmon is out along with Ron Washington to make sure the big guy is okay. That's scary. Anything up shoulder and above.
Porcello's only walked a couple of guys in the game, but he's been all over the place. He's trying to throw that ball down and away, and it was up and in. It's been a number of times today where the catcher's set up on one side of the plate and the ball's gone to the other side of the plate. So
right in the meat of that shoulder.
Give Porcello credit for really battling after Michael's double and holding the Rangers down a little bit. But overall, it's 86 pitches now in 4th inning. It's been a struggle for him.
Nelson Cruz, the batter.
Come right back and throw a slider right in the outside corner. Pretty tough to be able to hit that ball as a hitter after the guy right before you get drilled up and in.
Nelly had 6 of those 7 home runs in the first 8 games of the year. Now establishing inside 1-2. Breeze picking up just a little bit, and a very pleasant day for baseball here in Arlington. Tigers had a 3-0 lead before the Rangers batted today. They came back on the Murphy home run to make it 3-2. Tigers scored once in the second, but then the Rangers back with 4 in the bottom of the second. Foul down the third baseline. They're in the 9th inning at Fenway. Baltimore and Boston tied 4-4. The Orioles trying to avoid a 2-17 start. That's a pretty good pitch right there.
Oh, got him with a changeup.
Rangers strand Vlad Guerrero, who has been hit by the pitch. End of 4. Rangers lead 6-4. Career no-hitter for Nolan Ryan in 1973, and the comedian in the ninth inning who came up was Norm Cash, and he said, I got no shot anyway, so I'm just coming up here with that. Now, Steve Busby joins us in the booth right now. Not only did he face Norm Cash back in the day, but he also in 1973 no-hit Norm Cash and the Detroit Tigers. You softened him up for Nolan Ryan, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I probably gave Nolan a little bit of incentive. He figured if I could do it, he was going to throw at least 2, and he did that year. That was a funny. Did you ever see the video of that?
No.
Funniest thing.
I thought it was a folk story. It's actually
no. It's true. It's true. And I've forgotten who the home plate umpire was.
Ron Luciano.
Was it Luciano?
Yeah, it was Luciano.
He said no. Norm, you can't do that. He was laughing. I guess he was almost rolling. But yeah, it was funny.
Well, right, because we were saying Ron Luciano is known for his sense of humor, but even he has to answer to somebody, like the commissioner, right? So,
yeah.
Colby Lewis with the strikeout of Santiago. Of course, Norm Cash is the guy that also appeared on his Topps baseball card in 1970 with his fly open. I don't think on purpose, but
that's 6 out of the last 9 hitters Colby struck out.
Wow.
And he just got Santiago with 3 straight curveballs. So the big turnaround for Colby has come, and one of the main reasons has been able to get his other pitches over the plate effectively, or at least make the Tigers swing at him. Other than his fastball, he's not getting into a fastball count, letting the Tigers tee off on him right now.
Well, and it really all turned around. I mean, if you want to look at the tipping point, kind of the watershed moment, it was with this guy, Johnny Damon, at the plate. Second inning, the count 3-2, Steve Busby, and Damon looked at a called third strike, and it's like right from there, everything started to click.
Oh, you're right, Josh, and it was a tale of 2 pitchers were almost identical to the same point in the game. Porcello gave up 3 hits. And then a walk to start the third. The Rangers went on to score 4 times. Colby Lewis gave up 3 hits and then got the strikeout and double play to prevent any further damage in the top of that second inning. And that's been the biggest difference in the game. Colby's kept it going, and Porcello, a little bit here, a little bit there.
What's your thought process for a pitcher, Buzz? You're out there in the first couple of innings, and nothing you're throwing is going where you want it. The other team's teeing off on you. Were you just trying to survive out there?
Yeah, you really are, Tom. And I think the longer you go through stuff like that, the more years you pitch, the more you figure, well, it's going to turn around, or I'm not going to be here long enough to worry about it. But it's going to turn around. Now, what do I do? What kind of adjustment can I make and get through until I get my stuff back, my location back, whatever? You just keep trying different things, but I think the fundamental thing you have to have is a belief that it will get better.
Right.
Steve Busby, by the way, will be on the set of Rangers Live after the game. Johnny Damon hits one high and foul. If you want to ask the analyst, you text your questions to 57538. The keyword Rangers TV, and Buzz might be able to answer a question like this. Why do some batters have more success against certain pitchers? Asks our good friend 1996. Damon down on strikes again.
7 out of 10 hitters have struck out. And actually, in the last 10 hitters, he's gotten 11 outs because of the double
That's
play.
right. So, Buzz, to the question that
I think it has a matter, and Tom could probably answer this better than I could as far as hitters having success. I know why pitchers have more success against certain hitters, because they throw pitches that the guy has trouble with consistently, and adjustments aren't made, and the pitcher keeps throwing it. Hitters, I don't know, some of the darndest things you find out. I remember that Ron Fairley used to kill Tom Seaver. And, nobody else could hit Seaver consistently well, but Fairley was one of those guys that could just smack him around.
Buzz, can you hang for a little bit longer?
Sure.
All right, we'll talk.
Since it was a 1-2-3 and you're going pretty good today, Buzz, we're not going to get ready.
Okay.
Colby Lewis now in control of this thing at 6-4. Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by State Farm. Save more without settling for less. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by your Texas Chevy dealers, proud sponsor of Texas Baseball. Justin Smoke looking for his first big league hit, and he is looking to do it now against the D-Train. Dontrell Willis, who was scratched from his scheduled start yesterday, had a touch of the stomach flu, and now he is good to go. Dontrell Willis has had a real up-and-down kind of career since pitching in the All-Star game in Detroit a few years ago. Remember, he gave up that home run to the then Texas Ranger first baseman Mark Teixeira, and the guy that always gets compared to Teixeira now is batting. Justin Smoke turns around, bats righty. And Buzz, I don't know if you remember this, but that was the year that Teixeira hadn't hit a home run right-handed all spring, all summer. Goes to the All-Star game and bang, right against Dontrell Willis, out it went.
That turned him around for the rest of the year, too.
It sure did.
Got him going.
So in that vein, if you'll indulge me, I'm putting in the call for Justin Smoke.
Good.
Doing it right now. First big league hit.
Might as well make it a big one.
A little Mark Teixeira flashback for you. Upstairs, 3-1. Steve Busby kind enough to stay with us for a little bit here in the bottom of the fifth inning. There's a lot to talk about pitching-wise today because of the abrupt turnaround by Colby Lewis.
Yeah.
It was going horribly, and then all of a sudden it started going great. Now a walk instead of a long ball. Justin Smoke is on again. He becomes the first Ranger ever to walk in each one of his first 3 games.
I think Jim Leyland would love to have been able to stick with Porcello. His problem was he just got his pitch count up so high. He was around 90 pitches after 4 innings. But after Michael's double, he had 3 shutout innings, just the soft hit to Blanco and 1 to Bourbon. So Porcello really settled down and showed you the kind of pitcher he has the capability of being. And Colby's done the same thing. Colby was a little bit more fortunate as far as his pitch count goes. He's kept it down lower and still out there.
So as Matt Trainer steps in, and we told this story earlier, when Trainer debuted in the big leagues, his very first assignment was to be the catcher for Dontrell Willis. And together they went through 6 innings of perfect game baseball against Cincinnati. A lot has changed since then. Matt Trainer now a Ranger, and Dontrell Willis trying to rediscover himself. It's kind of an interesting fall from grace, I guess, Buzz, for Dontrell Willis.
Well, it's, you know, and if you're looking for answers to questions, if you could come up with the answer to why a guy like Willis, who just blazes through baseball for a couple of years, all of a sudden falls on times where he can't get people out, you'd make an awful lot of money, because there'd be a lot of pitchers trying to run you down for that answer. It's a strange thing about the game of baseball. It can go as quickly as it came.
Trainer against his old battery mate rockets one to left center field. That ball caught by Jackson on the track.
Well, that's too bad. He put a charge in that ball. Jackson got after it so quickly, almost overran it.
Boy, Trainer continues to impress. What a pickup.
Well, he must have been playing a little deeper and a little bit more towards center than he was for Michael Young, because this ball was hit just about the same spot where Michael hit his ball over Austin Jackson's head. Didn't have any trouble getting to that one.
So, Buzz, real quick, back to Colby Lewis before we let it get away from us. I mean, almost like a stop on a dime kind of thing, his turnaround today.
Well, that was so dramatic, Josh. It's almost like somebody went out in his uniform for another inning. It was, you know, like somebody crawled in. And really, that's what almost happens. You remake yourself by staying mentally positive, or as positive as you can, and wait for your body to catch up with what your mind's doing. And I didn't think Colby had very good stuff the first inning plus, but all of a sudden it kicked in. He found his location. He found the ability to spot the breaking ball and get ahead with it. And he became a different pitcher then, and the confidence grew, and he's on a roll since that time.
Yeah, 50 pitches into this game. He only had 4 outs.
Yep.
And then he got the double play ball from Cabrera, and just right on from there.
And I don't think you can minimize the idea that once he got the lead, he was a changed pitcher also. I think that plays into the kind of pitcher Colby Lewis is now. You give him a lead, and he has got a pretty good idea what to do with it, it looks like.
11 in a row set down and piling up the strikeouts. Tag, you and I saw him in Cleveland when he had the 10 strikeout game.
Yeah, he had a really good fastball that day.
Didn't even last 6 innings, but rang up 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, his problem in Cleveland was first inning he threw 37 pitches, and that kind of set the table for his pitch count. He threw 32 in the first inning against Boston and 31 today against the Tigers. So really high pitch totals in the first inning, and then he's gotten much better. Today was after the second inning. No starts. It was pretty much after the first inning. Kobe right now is one walk, 8 strikeouts. So he's really overcome that sluggish start. Dontrell Willis kind of a shell of what he used to be. His fastball right now in the mid-80s. Looks like he's just trying to aim it up there to get it over, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
That exaggerated delivery and, you know, what was that charismatic personality. He drew comparisons to the late Mark Fidrich and to Vida Blue, guys like that. Dontrell Willis's mom always appreciated the Vida Blue comparison. She grew up following the A's, and she was a huge fan of Vida Blue. She says she was at the game when Charlie Finley presented Vida Blue with that blue Cadillac, and Vida Blue did laps around the Oakland Coliseum in it in full uniform. But what was a feel-good story. Now, once he started missing the strike zone and the ERA was 8 and 9, shine was off the star. Jackson coming on. He's going to make that catch on Blanco. Once again, Steve Busby, our guest in booth, and Buzz will talk to you after the game on Rangers Live. It's been going pretty well, looks like, down there this year.
Had a great time.
Yeah.
We had some good things to talk about, a lot of exciting Ranger baseball, and hopefully we'll get some more wins to talk about.
You know, I think for the people that didn't see the pregame show, they should stay tuned to the postgame show so they can see you and Sonny in your matching red shirts.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit scary, Tom. We've taken a lot of heat about that.
That wasn't
today.
planned either, was it?
No, it wasn't. That's even scarier. Two great minds thinking along the same lines. I'm not sure either one of us is real happy about that possibility.
We can harken back to the Channel 11 days, folks, because Buzz and Sonny just kicking it in their matching shirts.
We may not make much sense sometimes. We have fun. That's the important thing.
Well, we go by that same dynamic up here. So, 1-0 the count to Bourbon. Now make it 1-1.
I threatened to go down to the store and buy a different shirt, but Sonny wouldn't let me. Said, hey, we got the uniform on today. Let's keep it on.
It's a good-looking shirt.
On most people, it would be.
That's too high to Bourbon. And again, Willis, one of those guys. I'm interested to get your take, Buzz. I mean, just all the flailing around. I mean, just all arms and elbows out there.
And he's calmed it down, I think, Josh. I mean, he looks calmer to me anyway. It's not quite as flamboyant, but you know, when things are going right, you can, if you've gotten into a pretty good groove as a pitcher, you can look completely off balance and everything else the way I thought Willis looked when he first came up and throw strikes. That's what he'd always done, and nobody tried to change him. And now it looks like people have started fiddling around with his motion and his mechanics a little bit, and he's probably fiddling around with it. And we don't see, as Tom said, we don't see anything but a shell of what the guy used to be.
And Bourbon draws his first walk all year. It comes in game number 18. He's been on base 3 times in this game. And we were talking about it earlier, Buzz, but to earn back what he needs to earn back from Ron Washington, I guess a few walks here and there would help.
Yeah, and you know, Ron did a real smart thing by putting him down to the number 9 slot. Take as much pressure off the young man as you can, and let him go ahead and do things that are more natural for him. I don't think there's any way to get around the fact that he was pressing as a leadoff man. Probably thought he had to do a little too much. Now let his natural instincts take over a little bit and settle back into being a quality major league player.
In the meantime, the Rangers found out what they maybe already knew, that if you have to go with Elvis Andrus at leadoff, he's going to find a way to get on base for you.
Yep.
Elvis drawing the bases loaded walk in the second inning. He's up to 7 runs batted in for the season. You got some guys that are, Chris Davis got sent down with 1 RBI. Josh Hamilton now is up to 7. But to have Elvis, either your leadoff guy or your number 9 guy with 7, that's great.
It's amazing, and I'm amazed every time I see Elvis do something I had not seen him do before, how quickly he is figuring this game out. Now, to his credit, he's had a lot of help with Omar Vizquel last year, Ron Washington, a lot of guys, Dave Anderson, in his ear, but he's taken what he can use to his advantage and really employed it quickly. I mean, he's matured right before our very eyes.
The giveaway today was the Elvis Andrus t-shirt. They keep giving things to Elvis here now today. Another 3-0 count for him. Michael Young on deck.
Well, it's hard to imagine that Willis, the way he's throwing right now, can throw 3 straight strikes, but the way Elvis has been patient, that's what he's going to have to do to get him out. I don't think he'll swing until he has to. I guess we'll find out right here if he throws a strike.
Action has begun in the Tiger bullpen. Well, as you said, Tom, the odds were stacked against him being able to throw 3 strikes in a row. And Elvis, knowing that, patiently draws the walk. Second time in this game, Michael Young will bat with the bases loaded. Fute Mee in the Tiger bullpen was a losing pitcher on Friday.
Willis has thrown 25 pitches of his own here in the 5th inning. 9 strikes and 16 balls.
Michael Young base hit left field. 1 run in and another one coming. Julio Bourbon scores. It's 8-4. It is a 5 RBI afternoon for Michael Young.
That's one thing you love to see. The Rangers, with a 6-4 lead, hadn't scored in a couple of innings. Like to see those add-on runs. And Michael wasn't wasting any time. Willis hasn't thrown many strikes here in the 5th inning, but one of the ones he did throw, Michael wasn't going to let him get away with it. He drilled it into left field for a couple of runs.
The Rangers went the last 7 innings yesterday without scoring at all. And obviously a lot different today as they've got 8 runs in already. Winning by the score by which they lost last night, 8-4.
Yeah, Josh, I don't think you can overemphasize the importance of that hit by Michael Young. The Rangers finally have been given something. 3 walks in the inning.
Yeah.
And to capitalize on that, I think, is a big boost to the morale of this club.
Now Murphy with a ground ball to second base. Buzz, thank you as always for your time.
My pleasure.
Going overtime with us. Michael Young's 5 RBI afternoon has made it 8-4 in favor of the Texas Rangers. face of the franchise with 3 hits today. That moves him even closer now to second on the all-time list in Ranger history. He's 10 away from Rafael Palmeiro. And closer he gets to the all-time lead. Pudge Rodriguez has 1,747. Probably sometime around middle of June is when Michael Young will pass a legend. Who, by the way, Pudge Rodriguez continues to lead the National League in batting average. And the Nationals also have the ERA leader over there. That's the ageless Livan Hernandez.
Yeah, that is really incredible how he is pitching. We saw him a couple of years ago and looked like he was throwing about 80 miles an hour.
He looked like he was 80 years old.
Now he's the best pitcher in baseball.
Think about that one. I know it's only April 25th, but Pudge Rodriguez and Livan Hernandez are still getting it done for the Washington Nationals, who today got a 1-0 win over the Dodgers. Chad Billingsley outdueled in that one. The Nationals are playing winning baseball at 10-9. And the guy that they've signed to be their big starting pitcher, Jason Marquis, went to the DL with an ERA of 20.
Well, Colby Lewis has retired 12 straight hitters and gotten 13 outs, including the double play, in those 12 hitters. And I don't know that you could find a more dramatic turnaround from the time the Tigers had first and third, nobody out, and 1 run in the second inning. They had 4 runs in the game, and Colby'd thrown a ton of pitches. And since that time, 13 outs, 12 batters, and 6 strikeouts. That's an incredible turnaround. Boy, you have to give Colby a lot of credit for what he's done in this ball game. And if he can have a quick inning here, he might even have a chance to pitch the 7th inning. He's at 90 pitches right now.
I mean, when the Tigers started out as they did, with a homer, a single, a double, and a walk, you never would have thought that would be the case.
And it's so important, not just for Colby to turn it around and have a good game, but the state of the Ranger bullpen was such, he was going to be out there for 100 pitches, even if it took 4 innings to get it. He was going to be out there no matter what the score was, because there just really wasn't a long man today.
My goodness.
He was just pouring a gem right
now. It is a Jekyll and Hyde afternoon here for Colby Lewis. 9 strikeouts now.
He really deserves a lot of credit. He started to keep his fastball on the corners and use his breaking balls effectively. And he just wasn't able to do that in the first couple of innings. Also working quickly.
Don Kelly fouls it up into the crowd.
It's a lot like yesterday's game in reverse. Not quite the same. The Rangers had a 4-run lead. The Tigers scored 8. Tigers had a 3-run lead and then a 4-2 lead. The Rangers had scored 6 unanswered runs, but same 8-4 score.
The Rangers chasing Rick Porcello after 4 innings. Colby Lewis just refused to be chased. Got it all together. And Kelly, the Pittsburgh native, takes on the outside corner. Wouldn't this be something if once again Colby Lewis could have a 10 strikeout effort in 6 innings of work? That would be twice in April. And it is so. He got him on the outside corner. 2 strikeouts in the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th. And Colby Lewis leads it 8-4. Time for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic, and the jackpot worth $1,700 in dinner for two at Sonic. Good luck to David West Bay of Grapevine. The Ranger hits a grand slam this inning. We're giving away $25,000. And Vlad Guerrero will take his cuts, with the Rangers leading 8-4 here in the sixth inning. A new pitcher to tell you about, our Verizon call to the bullpen, and there is the native of Taiwan, Fu Tae Ni. And he pitched on Friday. Actually got hit up for the loss in that one, that walk-off win for the Rangers. Vlad Guerrero hit by a pitch in the fourth inning. We'll start things off in the sixth. And there are the numbers on Ni. Pity that Saltalamacchia is not here to stare him down here. It'd be 2 letters against 14.
He'd have no chance in that battle.
It'd be a rout. There have been a lot of 3-letter last names in baseball. There have been Mays and Otts and Days. But a 2-letter last name, that's the first one. Previously it had been N.A., and now it's N.I. That one's inside to Guerrero. Fu Tae Ni and Ed Ott go to an autograph signing session, and they can get out of there in like 8 minutes.
Yeah, I think when they go to those sessions, they have to give a discount to the promoter, really. It's just not that hard to sign that name.
Ron Say, football had Ray Guy. That's easy. NHL had Hap Day.
Been a lot of Lees along the way.
A lot of Lees. But somewhere Saltalamacchia weeps. It's just not fair. Guerrero fouls it into the crowd. Speaking of names, you know what always got me as an announcer? The one, not so much ones that are tough to pronounce, but the names that are different to pronounce. The Padres hitting coach Jim Lefevre, but the journeyman outfielder from the same generation was Joe LaFay.
Then you got Brett Favre.
Favre. How about former Dodgers and Rangers closer Eric Gagne? But the Twins infielder was Greg Gagne. Spelled the exact same way.
Yeah. Might have something to do with Gagne coming from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
With a French pronunciation. I can't even pronounce pronunciation.
Guerrero down on strikes. Nelson Cruz comes up next. Basketball folks will remember the guy from Temple who starred years and years ago, Bill Milkvey, M-L-K-V-Y, the owl without a vowel. That one's outside to Cruz. Did people mess up your name?
A lot of people say Greavy. Pronounce the E at the end of it. Pronounce it Greavy or add an S to it and call it Greaves.
How about the I before E rule? People.
I haven't seen a big problem with that because Grieve is actually a word, and
right.
Most people know that word, a vowel, but I haven't seen the I before the E problem too much. Although I've seen a similar name, Greaves, Greeves. That's a fairly popular name.
Two-one delivery. Fu Tae Ni missing Tonelli Cruz. Justin Smoke on deck, and another chance for Justin to get that first big league hit before his parents leave town. And the Rangers bullpen now will show some life. Darren Oliver getting ready. And again, a big part of the storyline today is that abrupt turnaround for Colby Lewis. I mean, if he's done with 10 strikeouts in 6 innings of work.
He got the last 14 batters with a double play, 15 outs and 14 batters. I don't think I've ever seen a more dramatic turnaround. I've seen pitchers turn around a sluggish start, but not that way. Not with 10 strikeouts. There's no way that you could see that coming with first and third and nobody out in the second inning. It's just unbelievable how he turned it around, and got to give him a lot of credit for being able to do that. The line looks kind of average until you get to the 10 strikeouts, 4 runs in 6 innings, but when you see how it got there, it's amazing.
Nelson Cruz on base for a second time, and here is Justin Smoke.
First baseman, Justin Smoke.
At the University of South Carolina. It'll be interesting when the Rangers and the Orioles get together. Smoke and Matt Wieters played together in Goose Creek, South Carolina. So the Orioles' top prospect and arguably the Rangers' top prospect will be matching up against each other. And they're good buddies. Goose Creek, South Carolina, also where former Tiger, former Red Sox Bryce Flory is from. And Justin says that he's actually worked out with Bryce Flory a considerable amount, has learned a lot from Bryce Flory. Goose Creek is not a big town, but has produced 3 major leaguers.
Bryce Flory could probably have lowered his career ERA if he didn't have to face Juan Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
streak Juan had against him.
It was 8 for his first 8.
It was something unbelievable.
A bunch of doubles and home runs. Wave and a miss, 2-2. So speaking of those Orioles, as they try to get it done against the Red Sox, they got 3 in the top of the 10th. Now the Red Sox have battled back with 1 in the bottom of the 10th. And it's still going 7-5. Baltimore's got the lead. To right field, foul. Angels with a 5-3 lead on the Yankees right now. That game's in the 4th inning. The Smoke family thought maybe that one, no.
Well, I'm sure Justin's a little nervous, but he's not half as nervous as his family is right now. Not even close.
4 walks already in 3 games for Justin. And now the strikeout. Out number 2 in the inning.
The catcher, Matt Trainer.
Oakland leading Cleveland 3-0 today. The A's try to get to 12-8 to start their year.
Another good day for Matt Trainer with the bat. He's got a single and scored a run leading off the second. Grounded out, but then he had a line shot to left center. Austin Jackson made a nice running play. He continues to have good solid at bats up there. Making pretty good solid contact.
Knee is tough though, 0-2. Tigers have a really good bullpen to start the year. Statistically the best in the league right now. Runner at first and 2 down. And Matt Trainer hoisting it to left field. Way up there for Don Kelly, who glides back and takes it. That will end the inning. 8-4, Texas over Detroit today at the ballpark. BBVA Compass presents the game summary video style. Austin Jackson led off the game with a home run. The Denton native got the Tigers rocking and rolling. They led 3-0 before the Rangers batted. David Murphy got the Rangers coming back with his first home run of the year. And Michael Young has had a huge day with 5 runs batted in. Really, though, it's been about Colby Lewis. After that rocky start to the game, he struck out Johnny Damon on a 3-2 count in the second inning. It's been gravy since then. He was up to 10 strikeouts, and he'll continue at least to start things here in the 7th against Alex Avila.
Yeah, Colby came into the game with more than 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, 18 strikeouts and 17 in the 3rd. And he's just added to that statistic with 10 in 6 innings.
A couple of different games with 10 strikeouts in April. Only 2 other Rangers had ever done that. Bobby Witt did it. That was in 1986, and it might not surprise you to learn who the other one was.
Big Tex.
That would be, yeah, the guy sitting right down front, Nolan Ryan.
Boy, he's just doing a great job now. He couldn't throw his fastball where he wanted early, but now he's painting the outside corner with it, throwing his curveball down and in. He's got him taking the strike on the outside corner and swinging at the ball out of the strike zone. And a good fastball in that jammed him.
We've talked about Colby Lewis and coming back from Japan. He played for that team in Hiroshima, the Hiroshima Carp. We'll have more on that in just a moment. First, we go to Jim Knox.
All right, thank you, Josh. Time for the progressive fan of the game. It has to be this great mother, Jill, with her 2 sons, Nathan and Ryan. She's here with the car seat, the Thomas suitcase, the Spider-Man pillows. Why, Jill?
Well, we have a deal with some friends of ours, and we trade kids for 24 hours, and this was our back meeting point. So they brought us back our pillows, our overnight clothes, and our car seat. So we're set.
There we go. And Mom's been lugging that around the ballpark all day long. Here's the progressive fan tote bag, something else you can lug around, as well as the hat, the jersey, and everything. Good old Mom doing everything she can to get the kids out to the ballpark. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Anything for the Rangers.
There we go. All right, Josh.
Thank you, Jim. That was a lot to carry down there. And Colby Lewis with a 2-1 count on Scott Sizemore now. We were talking about Colby coming back from Japan after those couple of years with the Carp. And one of the most popular American players ever to have played for the Carp is now broadcasting for the Detroit Tigers. That's Rod Allen right there. He spent 3 years for the Carp. And boy, if you ever want to have some fun on YouTube, see if you can find the video of Rod Allen while playing for the Carp and charging the mound in a game in Japan.
He charged the field. He was all over the field, boy.
Sent that.
First base runner and 15 batters.
Boy, that's something. The walk to Sizemore. And, well, I'll put it to you this way, Tom. 50 pitches to get through, not even 2 innings. And then if that's the only thing wrong that happens after that is that walk, that's phenomenal. And these fans are on their feet for Colby.
I like the way he turned it around and the state of the bullpen before the game. That's the best Ranger pitching performance of the year right there.
Darren Oliver coming in. An abrupt and wonderful turnaround today with a 30-year-old Colby Lewis. And we'll come back and tell you about Darren Oliver in just a moment. The Tigers had their 4 early. And Colby Lewis settled right down and just held them. Now Darren Oliver is going to try to do the same in support of Colby Lewis. Darren already showing his valuable nature, his versatility. Has a save this year already, something that he hadn't had since 1994. Only 1 walk, and he has struck out 11.
And Darren's appeared in half the Ranger games. Rangers' 18th game. This is his 9th appearance, so he's being used frequently. Which pretty much shows the kind of arm he's got at a relatively advanced baseball age. You never know it the way he's throwing right now.
Out of Denton Ryan High School, Austin Jackson. On the ground, third base. Michael Young whips it to second, 1 on to first. Got him, double play. Darren Oliver in support of Colby Lewis. We are at the stretch. Rangers lead by here on this sunny Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by the Ford F-150 and by Southwest Airlines. Andres Blanco to lead it off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Boutte continues on the mound. And the Rangers on top 8-4. They had trailed today 3-0 and 4-2. Blanco's been a part of the uprising today with a couple of hits. Bourbone's got a couple of hits. It's not bad when your 8 and 9 guys are that productive. Most productive today at the plate, Michael Young with 5 runs batted in.
3 hits, been on base 4 times. He also has a walk.
Michael has won 7 RBI game in his career. Now, if the Rangers can get some base runners here, Michael can take aim at that. Crowd of 31,211 announced today. Another great walk-up. They were expecting about 23 or 24,000 today, so the walk-up of 10,000 yesterday, maybe 8,000 or so today, I would guess.
That's great.
Same 2 teams tomorrow at 7:05. Matt Harrison against Jeremy Bonderman. Pitching matchup tomorrow. Tuesday, you got a couple lefties that are worth the price of admission. C.J. Wilson for the Rangers. Mark Burley. He have a perfect game and a no-hitter against the Rangers going for Chicago.
The Rangers will catch Burley, Peavy, and Gavin Floyd. 3 good pitchers.
They will miss John Danks, who's leading the league in ERA right
Probably
now.
good to miss Danks.
Yeah.
Peavy's actually been struggling early in the year.
Blanco on base for a 3rd time. Yeah, and CJ, meantime, is 4th in the league in ERA right now. The top 4 guys in the league right now are all lefties. John Danks, Francisco Liriano. We've got CJ Wilson at 4th and Andy Pettit is 3rd.
Well, it looks like Liriano, by the sounds of it, we haven't seen him yet, is back to what he was when he was the super prospect and off to a great big league start with the Twins. Fell on some hard times with his injury, but appears to be back now.
Mentioned earlier that Livan Hernandez is leading the National League in ERA. A close second and earning his stripes already in Philadelphia. That's Roy Halladay. Probably a good idea when you get all that money to go to Philly to start out pitching that well, and he's done that.
And John Danks had the win today in their 3-2 win over Seattle, so he probably has just increased the statistics you're talking about. Unless those were up to date. Did you have were those prior to today or up to date?
Danks now at 1.55, so I guess he slipped to 3rd.
Slipped to 3rd, okay.
Tampa Bay got a really solid effort from David Price today. And the Rays beat the Jays 6-0.
Starting to live up to his potential. He's won 3 games early in the season.
ERA of 2. Tampa Bay's got the best record in baseball right now.
We got a good team, boy.
Went into Boston and swept them. Boutte real tough on lefties. Julio Bourbon is out.
Knee comes in with a breaking ball. Catches the inside corner. Actually, not a bad pitch to hit. Julio just missed it. And Baltimore finally won a game.
Ooh, they hung on, huh?
7-6. It wasn't easy.
Yeah, 3 in the top of the 10th, and then they gave up 2 in the bottom. Oakland's now got a 4-0 lead on Cleveland. That's in the 5th. Rangers have been exactly 3 games behind Oakland now, or it could be 9 days in a row.
Really?
Yeah, every time the Rangers win, the A's win. Every time the Rangers lose, the A's lose. Rip and a miss. We were talking about Tampa Bay. Check the Jack-in-the-Box standings for the AL East. Baltimore wins today, and they're still 11 out in April. I really like the way Elvis Andrus is so confident taking pitches. It's like he doesn't even flinch. Not a lot of check swings. Just he makes that initial assessment. Nope, not this one.
Yep, that's definitely talent. You can see the physical talent, the tools we like to call them, but you almost make a case that a good eye at the plate is a tool of its own.
Sure, especially with all the emphasis being put on base percentage these days.
Probably should be. The other tool that you hear scouts talk about are the intangibles like instincts and the heart that a player has.
Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Two strikeouts in a row for Nee.
Third baseman, Michael Young.
Michael Young has been up 4 times. He's been on base 4 times. 3 hits and a walk. 5 runs batted in. Bases loaded double and a bases loaded single. This game started out crazily with 15 hits in the first 21 at-bats. The two teams combined. And slowed down a little bit from there. Gunning for the outside corner, he missed. Angels still leading the Yankees 5-4, 6th inning now in Anaheim. Angels have started 9 and 10. If the Rangers win today, they'll be 8 and 10. Kansas City over Minnesota. That's gone final 4-3. Brian Bannister the win. And Jose Guillen now with 7 home runs to tie Nelly Cruz and Vernon Wells and Paul Konerko. To right field off the bat of Michael Young. And towards the crowd, into the crowd. Michael with the bases loaded today. I'll take you back to the 2nd inning. Jumping by Austin Jackson. Then the 5th inning. And in the left. And suddenly that's 14 runs batted in for the season for Michael Young.
And suddenly Michael's average is 282.
Yeah. Yep, it's happened in a hurry. We're paying a lot of attention over there to Blanco at first. Two down, bottom 7. Young reaches out to spoil it. National League, boy, the Astros are getting it right suddenly. Helps that they're playing the Pirates, but they destroyed Pittsburgh today 10-3. Lance Berkman's healthy again. He came back with a home run.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt having him back in the lineup, that's for sure. But, you know, they've got good hitters. Hunter Pence, Carlos Lee were off to slow starts. Eventually, they're going to start to hit the ball and get Lance Berkman back. It becomes a pretty good offense.
Again to right field, again foul. Yeah, the Astros, as of the moment, actually have a better record than the Rangers do. Remember, they started winless that first week and a half of the season. Cubs all over the Brewers today, 12-2 in Milwaukee. Had 18 hits this afternoon, including a home run from Derek Lee, number 4.
And to do the same thing to Michael that he did to Elvis. Away, 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 and then bust him in for strike 3. But got it on the corner to Elvis evidently, but didn't do it to Michael.
Nice at bat. Michael Young takes it full. Murphy on deck.
Major made the Tigers throw a ton of pitches today. This will be 45 pitches for me in 2 innings.
Young couldn't get it. And the inning finally ends. Leadoff walk doesn't blossom. Knee strikes out the side. It's 8-4 Rangers, end of 7. Darren Oliver on the mound, his second inning of work, and he steers in a strike to Ramon Santiago. Colby Lewis on line for the win. He struck out 10 in 6 1/3, and after an inning and a third today, looked like a potential for just kind of a dark afternoon for Colby, but he brightened it up considerably.
And I'm sure Ron Washington, after that inning and a third with first and third, inning really, first and third and 1 out, was a little bit worried about his bullpen as well. How am I going to get through 9 innings in this game? And what a dramatic turnaround for Colby. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite as dramatic as that. He went from not being able to throw the ball where he wanted to for about 50 pitches to being almost perfect after that. Ended up pitching 6 1/3. 6 1/3, 4 runs doesn't look great, but when you look at how it got to 6 1/3, it looks tremendous.
Oh, the Tigers starter Rick Porcello struggled out of the gate as well. He could only give his team 4 innings. Lewis ended up with 6 1/3. That ball grounded to short, and it really all turned around with the at bat by Johnny Damon, who's about to bat right now. Our Coors Light freeze camp, and on a 3-2 count, boy, this was just a huge pitch. And then right back. That's how he gets the double play ball from Cabrera, and everything started getting better from there.
Fastball on the outside corner for strike 3. Good cutter. He got Cabrera to hit it right off the end of the bat. Tried to pull it to shortstop. Pretty much exactly what that pitch is designed to do. It's fun watching Colby those last 5 innings. 15 straight batters, 16 outs until the walk.
Under the glove of Oliver, Elvis Andrus just smoked for the out.
Well, Barron's gotten 4 outs and 10 pitches. Got the double play to end the 7th and 2 quick ground ball outs here in the 8th.
Now Oliver will work to Miguel Cabrera. Some other scores for you. The Nationals over the Dodgers 1-0. Chad Billingsley outdueled by Scott Olson today. Wave and a miss by Cabrera. His former team, the Marlins, trailing at Colorado 1-0. Another ground ball.
Try it again.
Elvis.
Try somebody else.
Yeah, Elvis is going to get that one every time. Bottom of the 8th coming up, looking good for the Rangers today. Or Diet Dr. Pepper can be redeemed at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington or by entering Dr. Pepper as a coupon code at TexasRangers.com. Purchase half-price tickets in many sections here at the ballpark. And of all things, as we talk about Dr. Pepper, I'm going to show you a new pitcher here who I swear to you is named Coke. Phil Coke is now on the mound for the Tigers, and the Rangers try to build their lead from 8-4. We're cross-promoting soft drinks here for you.
Well, Coke was one of the guys that came over to the Tigers in that complicated trade that they made in the wintertime. They got 4 players. Austin Jackson was one of them. Coke was one of them. Max Scherzer, who we saw pitch effectively in the first game, was one of them. And then I think his first name is Dan Schlereth, who was a very talented first-round draft choice, left-handed relievers in the minor leagues right now. And so they've got 4 guys that could be a big part of their franchise for a long time. But they made a great trade. They ended up trading 2 really good players. Curtis Granderson went to the Yankees, and Jackson went to Arizona.
Murphy checks and takes a strike. David had the hit that got the Rangers going today. That home run back in the first. Crowd of 31,000 plus today on a perfect afternoon. In there, strike 3. The strikeouts are piling up on both sides here today.
Well, Lee struck out 5. He struck out the side in the 7th, struck out 2 in the 6th. 2 innings, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts.
Neftali Feliz available to pitch the 9th. Vlad Guerrero. Been killing lefties early this year. Driving it in the right center field. And grabbed on the run by Bosch. Rangers actually don't have a hit in this game since Michael Young's bases loaded single in the fifth. Nelson Cruz coming up next. Just the one home run for the Rangers today, that off the bat of Murphy. The Tigers had a home run 3 pitches into the game from Austin Jackson. Nelson Cruz has hogged most of the Rangers' home run activity. He's got more than half of the team's total. But Murphy's on the board now after that long ball first inning. Right. Cold, hard blast. Up and over the Chicken Express. That one's in to Nelly. Again, the game tomorrow, a 7:05 start. These same 2 teams. Wave and a miss. And again, a lot of strikeouts.
The hitters just got tired after the first couple of innings.
A lot of things happening early in this game, but yes, gotten quiet late. 3 more outs to get for the Rangers when we come back. Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. By Progressive. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And by the Ford F-150. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. Beautiful day, beautiful ballpark. Nice looking score right now, too. The Rangers lead 8-4. They lost by that identical score last night. And have turned the tables on the Motor City Kitties here this afternoon. Neftali Feliz will come on and try to get those last 3 outs. Neffy's been done in by a couple games where he'd like to have some things back, but the other 5 games, just brilliant work. He will face the former Toledo Mud Hen Brennan Bosch. And these Tigers don't have a hit since the second inning. Colby Lewis started out, Tom, looking at 7 for 10 against him. And then he closed with 0 for 15.
Well, I just don't think I've ever seen anything like that. A turnaround like that. And the Rangers needed it. The bullpen needed it. It was actually an incredibly clutch performance by Colby today.
Third baseman Brandon Inge.
One down, and Brandon Inge will come up. It's like all of a sudden just the lights went out for the Tigers. I mean, they were hitting everything. Once through the order, and then even the second time, Austin Jackson a double, Santiago the single. And since then, there's just been one walk in about two and a quarter hours.
Yep, 23 batters, 1 walk.
Well, and there's Brandon Inge to spoil all that. Base hit to left. Wide turn and playing it safe here. His team is down 4. That ball sails. Justin Smoke runs and goes, gets it in right field.
No damage done. Harmless single.
Now batting the left fielder, Don Kelly.
They're just going down to get it. Young playing well off the line there.
David gets in position to throw this ball, just kind of airmailed it over second base. Inge probably in a close game would have gone for 2 right there, but down by 4 runs doesn't make any sense.
You know, one thing about Nelson Cruz not being able to get on last inning, Tom, Justin Smoke was the on-deck batter. And again, with his folks here, his fiance here, and they're all heading back later tonight. Well, that's too bad that Justin couldn't get the one more AB, try to get that first big league hit for them.
I'm sure they would like to have seen it, but they'll see a bunch of them, and he'll have a whole lot of hits before he's done playing.
Skied towards left. David Murphy near the line. Sunglasses glistening. He's got it. So to complete a really nice afternoon at the ballpark, 1 out still left to get. A reminder the Rangers Live follows. The Rangers trying to twist the cap shut on an 8-4 win here today. On the ground, first base, Justin Smoke. Ball game.
And the good thing about that is nothing got to save. If he didn't get a save, he finished off the game 1 inning and only 7 pitches.
Colby Lewis starts out 3-0 as a Texas Ranger with an incredible turnaround today, and Michael Young had the 5 runs batted in. The gang is getting set on the set of Rangers Live. They are standing by.